I'm Jenny Robertson, founder of the On Purpose Woman Global Community and founder and publisher of On Purpose Woman magazine. This is the speaker portion of our Connections After Hours gathering of the On Purpose Woman Global Community. Karen Tasto is speaking on leveraging envy. Karen has been guiding women towards their true selves for nearly 20 years. As a certified life coach, women's circle facilitator, and journey dance guide, she creates sacred spaces for transformation. Karen is passionate about helping women feel alive, connected, and whole. And you can find out more about Karen on her website at karentasto.com. And that link is in the text of this video as well. So welcome, Karen. Thank you for being with us tonight.
Thank you, Jenny. I'm so pleased and honored to be here.
Wonderful. I'm looking forward to this topic.
I am so excited to share about this taboo topic of envy.
Of envy.
It's
We cannot
not
admit to
one that we generally talk about in our circles.
So you're on.
Thank you. So I'm super excited, and hopefully we bring this envy out of the shadows. And my intention is to help you see that envy is nothing to feel ashamed about, but rather something to feel empowered by. See, we all have likely envied others, as we have shared in our breakout rooms. Or we've also been the recipient of envy, and they're very similar. You might consider for whom you have felt envious of. Could it be siblings or friends, even social media friends, our partners and significant others, perhaps neighbors, work colleagues, even clients, and even our kids. You'd be surprised how many parents feel envious of their children. So then consider by whom you may have received envy from. I know growing up, as I was sharing in my breakout room, that my mom was the recipient of much envy by her sister-in-laws. And I witnessed, they thought she had the bigger house, and she had the job, and she had daughters, and they had sons. And I saw what it did to my mom and those relationships. It put a barrier of separation between them. So what are we envious of in women? I bet if you dig deep enough, maybe present, maybe in the past, that you'll find much that you've been envious of. Perhaps not. I know I have felt a lot of envy. As a child, as an adult, I felt it. I felt envious of friends and their career success, even though I wasn't on this corporate career path. I was envious of that. I was envious of friends when I was raising my boys, and it seemed like they could just take off at any moment for, to go on these solo trips, and their husbands would take care of everything, and it appeared to be so easy. And yeah, even envious of others and what appears to be that they're growing their business so easily. I had a friend many years ago who had a massage therapy practice out of her home, and it just was so lovely. And I was envious of that. And I realized later, I wanted that. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. Because I did go on to build my own Reiki and coaching practice out of my home. So we're envious of all kinds of things. There's also physical characteristics, envious of someone's body size or their shape or their hair color. We're envious of others' careers and their income. We're envious of others, maybe home and their decor. Perhaps we're envious of others' opportunities, of their talents, of their skills or accomplishments. Maybe we're envious of the success of others' kids or their relationships. Maybe we're jealous or envious of others' lifestyle or their travel, even their a level of happiness of what seemingly is. So, how does envy play out in our lives? Consider it for yourself. What are its manifestations? We may feel like the world is against us. We may feel frustration, guilt, even. We may feel drained, like we devalue ourselves and hence we stop putting ourselves out there. It may cause us to hide, to self-sabotage. We may even obsess about what the others have. It may play out as gossip or resentment. Now, at its extreme, we act out in destructive ways. It's all a spectrum, right? It's destructive when we are hating on ourselves or other and we wish to cause harm, to spoil things, to steal, take away. Oh goodness, are the fairy tales certainly show us the destructive side of envy, right? Think of Cinderella, Snow White, the stepsisters, the stepmother, taking away, trying to harm, make it hard, impossible for Cinderella. It's no wonder we've grown up with these fairy tales. It's no wonder we only view envy as destructive and shameful. My own envy translated into resentment. So resentment for what my sister growing up, and even when we had kids, envious of her taking away all my parents' attention, right? We've talked about this. And it's also played out as comparison, comparing myself with fellow entrepreneurs or friends. And all this only kept me small and hiding. Yeah. So I wanted to bring here, talk about the difference before we move on between jealousy and envy. These terms, I know I have done it, can get really intermixed. So, and we tend to misuse them. And I loved when I came across in Brene Brown's book, Atlas of the Heart, what she terms as envy and jealousy. She says, envy typically involves two people and occurs when one lacks something enjoyed by another. Whereas jealousy typically involves three people and occurs when we fear losing a relationship or a valued part of a relationship that we already have. So there you go. I used to feel jealous. I already said that. I used to feel jealous of my younger sister. Yeah. And if I was in my power, and I'll talk more about this in just a bit, this disempowerment, I would have directly asked my parents if I had the courage for what I needed, right? Especially as an adult. How do we judge ourselves? How we do judge ourselves when we feel envious? Think of for yourself. How do you judge yourself? Well, culture tells us that it's not okay to talk about, that it's ugly, bad, even monstrous. We tell ourselves that there's something wrong with us, and there's the shame. We even self-ridicule that we shouldn't be feeling this. And in many religions, it's even considered a sin. So no wonder, the shame. And the shame only intensifies envy, the effects of it. So there you go, with more judgment on top of the envy. The envious feelings fester and grow bigger, and as a result, more harmful. So why do we feel these envious feelings? What triggers them? I think it's something good to look at. It could be low self-esteem or low self-confidence. We may be mired in not good enough beliefs or thinking patterns, feeling like we're a failure, that we'll never measure up, that everyone else has what we want and we just can't have it for ourselves. So there is that mindset, those beliefs of scarcity, that there's only so much to go around, right? We may find ourselves are triggered by perfectionism, and there leads to comparing ourselves with others, or even unhealthy competition. Not that a good dose of competition isn't good. It can be very healthy and inspiring, lift us up to our highest potential, but not unhealthy. So when our envy is in the shadow and we're unconscious of it, there's typical ways that we tend to handle it, whether we're envying or we're being envied. And here's what they are. We may avoid provoking or showing off. So we hide, we make ourselves small. We hide those envied qualities, right? We may avoid it altogether or avoid the individual. We may have a tendency to do nothing, to just push it under the rug. Perhaps we act defensive or feel guilty, or we try not to feel guilty. Yeah. So envy is a direct product of feeling disempowered. I first heard this from my teacher, Joanna Lindbaum. This is her quote. Envy is a direct product of feeling disempowered. So when we're feeling envious, or when you're feeling envious, you might explore where you're feeling disempowered. Where have you lost your power, given it away? Maybe in a relationship, in your business, in relating to yourself and how you show up to others, maybe even in your desires and your dreams. You've given up or given your power away. I really believe, and from my own experience, that we need to do the inner work to get to the other side of envy, which ultimately is about empowerment. So to get to the empowerment, and then we're less triggered. It's where the inner work brings it up out of the shadows and up into conscious awareness. And the biggest thing, it's that your biggest takeaway from today is that I hope that envy is normal. Normalizing envy is really the first step in transforming it. And that just helps take the shame away, right? But there's nothing wrong with us. There's a great quote that says, I lost it. Let me find. Envy is inherent in people, no matter how hard we deny it. Envy is inherent in people, no matter how hard we deny it. It's part of being human. We can deny it all we want. Yeah. So I can see now in my life, looking back, it's always easier, that envy was a result of me feeling not good enough most of my life. Just not feeling good enough. And this led to a constant comparing, which is really quite draining. Yet I can see now that anything I have been envious of ultimately led me towards that thing. Or if not that thing, as I was saying to Jenny, the feeling that that thing would bring me, that I imagined it bringing me. So anything like a desire, and one thing that I've been envious of, or that I used to be envious of, was seeing someone seemingly living this really spacious lifestyle, you know? Yeah. Like there was something about that really sparked something in me. I knew I was envious of it because of how it made me feel. And when I did the inner work and really looked at it, I could see that that was something that I aspired to. I wanted that spaciousness. I didn't want that, that really tight schedule going here and there and there and there. I needed openness in my life, and I saw it in someone, and I knew that I wanted that. So I had to become aware of the envy. I had to feel even the resentment, the bitterness that resulted from it. I had to feel those, acknowledge those, all while doing, and this is all about doing the inner work of uncovering, feeling the feelings and uncovering those limiting beliefs. And a couple of them being scarcity and not enough. So I could identify what was missing in my own life to then get to that empowered place within myself. And that's how we change and transform. So before I go on to the process, more of this process, and I'm going to talk you through something like that, a little mini process, I want to offer an invitation to you, whether you're here or watching the recording or in Facebook. So all that I've talked about, this is where I support, partly of where I support a lot, but this is one of the ways I support my one-on-one coaching clients and the women in my circle work. And guiding them through this inner work, like looking at envy and where they're disempowered to get to an empowered place. And that's what I love. I love it, love it, love it. So I'm offering you a free visioning session where together we'll paint a clear picture of what you truly want for yourself. It's your vision for, say, a balanced and fulfilling life. And we won't just stop at talking about it. We'll take it into all levels of your being. We'll anchor it in physically, emotionally, energetically, and spiritually. I'll put the link in the chat if you'd like to schedule one. And I want to continue with sharing about this managing of envy and how to turn it into something more useful, more empowering. So I mentioned already that the first thing is to normalize it. And we normalize it by doing what we're doing here, talking about it. And even in one of my circles, I brought this topic of envy too, and it was really, really rich. So in all that, any way you can talk about it, it takes you out of that shame spiral. And then we want to know that when we envy, this is really key, that we're engaging with a part of a person, not the whole person. We're engaging with just a part of the person, not the whole person. Doesn't that help? That helps me, that we're not bad, they're not bad, it's just a part. And so and then to look at what if our envy was pointing us towards our deepest desires. These feelings are like lampposts showing us the way towards our dreams. There are guides. I invite you now, with all that, to close your eyes when you're ready, to get yourself comfortable. And if you're not comfortable closing your eyes, just go inward. And if you can put your feet flat on the floor, do that. Just feel yourself in your chair or wherever you are. Take a breath. Just let yourself land and settle. And I invite you to reflect on a time when you felt envy towards another. Could be present, could be past, long, long ago. A time when you felt envy towards another, or are feeling envy towards another. Remember, we're normalizing it. It's okay. And ask, what did she have that you didn't, that then has triggered you or triggered you? What did she have that you didn't? What was missing in your own life or in yourself? How did that play out? How did it manifest? Notice how it feels in your body. And perhaps there's a part in your body, a body part that you most feel this envy. And really lean into that if you're willing. Just feel the sensations in that part of your body. We'd spend more time with this in a one-on-one, but for the sake of time, I'm going to move us on. Consider how you were not in your own power in that instance or in this instance. How are you not in your own power? Where are you giving your power away or lacking power? And go back to that part of your body where you feel this envy and listening to it. This part of you who feels envy. And asking it what it might be telling you. How it might be pointing you towards your deepest longings. And breathe. From its highest wisdom, what does it want you to know? And ask yourself if you're willing to sacrifice, to pay the price, to expend the effort in order to acquire for yourself what you have envied in the other. Are you willing? And if you get a big yes, then what is that first step, baby step, aligned step that you need to take, that you're willing to take in the next days or week to have that for yourself? To move in that direction. Even considering your own mindset, your beliefs around this. Is it one of scarcity, not enoughness, that good things are in limited supply? And how could you shift that to one of abundance, that there is more than enough goodness and good to go around? So take a breath with all that coming back into your body, feeling the floor beneath you, and opening your eyes as you're ready. And I thank you for listening, and I really hope you received. I would love for you to, if you're willing to share in the chat what your takeaway is, maybe what you received from that little inner work. And again, I invite you to schedule, or if you know someone, to schedule a visioning session as a way to get clear on your dreams, on your goals, your vision coming forward, moving forward, and to explore possible ways to work with me. I'm Karen Tasto of Open Heart Healing, KarenTasto.com. And it's been a real delight and pleasure. Thank you. Thank you, Jenny.
Thank you, Karen. And I'd love those of you with us here on Zoom to unmute yourselves so that we can applaud and tell Karen what a great job she did with this talk. Are you all ready? Let's go. Woo!
Hey, great job.
Thank you, Karen. Lots of great food for thought there. And I also want to tell our viewers that the link to Karen's free offer will be in the text of this video as soon as I get off of here. So look for that and reach out if you'd like to see what it would be like to work with Karen. So Karen, thank you again. This is just really good, really good. I'm glad you brought envy out of the dark shadows. Thank you for that.
Good.
And I want to thank anyone who's watching this live or the replay. If you want to join us for one of our Zoom or in-person gatherings, go to my website, opwgc.com, where you can find out all about our community and the magazine. And that, what is that called? That link is also in the text of this video. Thanks again for watching.